YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. Today, we're breaking down the Baltimore Ravens record prediction for 2021. I'm also going to give you a best case scenario and worst case scenario along with my actual prediction. Doing this for every single team. We got the Steelers done from the AFC North, AFC East, NFC East done. Getting through every team, like I said, going game by game here. Then we'll get on to playoff predictions, Super Bowl predictions, all of that. You guys playing along as well, posting some polls on who wins each division. Basically, we'll create a playoff field. So make sure you follow that Twitter, smash that like button, subscribe, all that. Much appreciated. Full NFL content here. Playoffpredictors.com is what we're using to predict all of these. Very cool site. Check it out and play along. Ravens today. We'll go through my predictions first, and then I'll circle back and do best case, and then we'll look at worst case. The Ravens probably don't have that big of a range. I think a lot of the teams we've been doing recently have a pretty big range. They can lose this amount of games, or they can win in this amount of games. The Ravens, I think, it's like almost a sure lock at being a pretty good team, pretty darn good team. Can they get over that hump? Some questions with the offensive line. Ronnie Stanley coming back. That's fantastic. But no Orlando Brown. Interior, a little bit of a question mark. They do add Zeitler there, but and then they add to the receiver unit. We'll see how the young guys step up, though. Do like me some Rashad Bateman. Defensively, I got some questions about the edge rush unit, but that in most defenses, that's the most important spot. It's actually not in the Ravens defense. The corners are actually the most important spot, but then their inside linebacker group along with their actual defensive front, we'll see them blitz a ton in that defensive scheme. We'll see if they keep going with that. Feels like they've had the scheme for a long time. It's worked, but sometimes teams try to switch it up. So I'm always curious to see with the Ravens if they keep rolling with the same thing here. I would expect them to. Monday Night Football in Las Vegas, Week 1. Raiders looking a little different. Totally different style of defense. Different offensive line. Added some pieces on defense as well through free agency and the draft. I'm thinking Lamar's just going to be too much of him Week 1. Just Week 1, a fresh Lamar Jackson. Raiders got to, make some adjustments. They made adjustments for the better, but now it's got to go translate to the field. I think it eventually will. I think they'll have their hands full there in the first Monday night game there with Lamar Jackson and company. Chiefs and Ravens, they just can't beat the Chiefs, it feels like. It's got to happen at some point. Last year I realized, it's just pure matchup is why they really struggle with them. The Ravens run a ton of man coverage on defense. They are the best team, in my opinion, running that. But what you can't do against Mahomes and those speedy receivers of the Chiefs is run man coverage. He'll beat you every time. So the Ravens really, they're so dominant at man, but when somebody kind of overpowers that, they don't look nearly as good. They're not really good at adjusting too much to different types of coverages. So that is the main reason. And the Ravens blitz a ton. Mahomes somehow is better against the blitz, which is ridiculous. So there's just a matchup situation there. Maybe they got a plan. Maybe this offseason they're like, all right, we're a powerhouse team, heavyweight team. Let's game plan, figure out a way to game plan and adjust for these teams. So maybe. It's going to be a heavyweight battle still. I have them beating the Lions. Broncos game's interesting. I think the Broncos could present maybe some troubles, stop the run, contain Lamar Jackson, make some plays on defense. But I also think the same thing on the opposite side. And the Ravens will stop the run of the Broncos, and they'll probably create a turnover or two in the passing game, and that could be the difference there against the Broncos. So I'll go Ravens, but that's honestly one that I think people will kind of write off the Broncos in that game, but that's a pretty good game, actually. Colts-Ravens, pretty good defensive game last year. I thought the Colts did a pretty decent job containing Lamar Jackson last year. Just a fumble resulted in the difference in that game. I think it's similar to the Broncos matchup, another low-scoring game, but I just think the Ravens, Monday night at home, create that extra turnover on Carson Wentz to result in them winning in a very tight game there. Chargers and Ravens, pretty good game as well. Pretty good game. The Chargers could be a sneaky team. They might be able to put some points up, but I also think the Ravens, Lamar Jackson and company that's going to be a good game. Probably a game that finishes in the high 20s for each team. I'll take the Ravens at home. That might be the slight difference. I got them over the Bengals there. I like where the Bengals are heading, but bye week, we're on a streak here. They got the Vikings. Vikings should be a better team this year, but Ravens should be able to not stop, but slow their running game down, blitz Kirk Cousins, while Lamar Jackson should be a problem for them. I'm going to take the Ravens, like the matchup for them there. Ravens, Dolphins. This is a Thursday night game. This one could go either way. Two very solid defenses. I think a defensive game. Yeah, at the same time, when the Dolphins defense did struggle, it was against some really good running teams, so that could be the difference there. But I do think they upgraded in that category. I do think they could be better. That's what I'm looking forward to see with the Dolphins. I'm gonna take the Ravens though for those reasons. On a streak, 8-1. The only loss is the Chiefs. Bears. The Bears have pretty good game plans against high-powered running teams, especially with the scrambling quarterbacks in the past. And Lamar Jackson's a different animal, but they've had some pretty good game plans. Fields could be in by this point. I think a defensive game. I'm actually going to go with the upset here. Sometimes I think all these videos I kind of have a little bit of an. I don't know if that's too much of one, but I'm going to go Bears. I'm going to go Bears there. These games, the Browns-Ravens game, should be epic once again. I already will say I'll have them splitting. We'll probably go with the home game splits, so we'll go like that. I did have the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers are as good as they were last year. I did have them getting one on the Ravens, though. I already did the Steelers video. Packers-Ravens. That's a good game. Good game in the cold here. I'm assuming Aaron Rodgers will be playing. It's weird. The Packers are, they struggle sometimes stopping the run, but I think they do a good job, keeping everything inside at least. So I don't know if I think they'll actually do a good job of, not allowing Lamar Jackson to scramble outside and get loose. While I think the Packers offensive line could handle the blitz of the Ravens, and Rodgers could. He's very good against the blitz too. Like Mahomes, he's able to escape, throw on the run outside. And I think the Packers actually find some success against this Ravens defense in the passing game. So I'm going to go Packers in that one for the matchup. But I honestly can argue both sides of the matchup because, again, the Packers have struggled against some pretty damn good running teams in the past. We know that. But I think it's a different type. I think they'll be able to play well against them. Bengals, again, on the right path. They can be a little sneaky, but I got them 2-0, the Ravens 2-0 the Bengals. We're at 10-5. Rams, week 17. Rams are going to be it's a Saturday ball game. Rams are going to be very good. A lot of talent there. Matt Stafford to get better at quarterback. I do a little bit worry about Matthew Stafford's somewhat of his durability down the stretch. It feels like every year he's either playing hurt or he's hurt and out. So I do worry about that a little bit. So for the Ravens to play the Rams, it is an excellent draw, in my opinion, to play them in Week 17. I'm gonna go with the Ravens there. Probably more of a defensive game, actually. Heck of a game though. Saturday football. And then I got them beating. They're either gonna 2-0 the Steelers or it's gonna split. So I got them at 12-5. I mean, not a surprise there. The Ravens should be a lock as a pretty good team. Can they get over that hump in the playoffs though? We know they're a dangerous playoff team, but can they get over that hump? Kind of going back in best case scenario. Again, I don't think they're too rangy. We probably will expect them to beat the Bears. And they could beat the Steelers 2-0. Of course, they can win these games. But they're going to lose some games. Everyone's going to lose some games there. So 14-3. I'm pretty confident in that 11-13 range. 11-12. I had 12 in the prediction. Worst case scenario, I really don't. Raiders got all this time to game plan for Lamar. Maybe week one. Weird things happen in week one. Honestly, the Broncos can beat them. Between the Colts and the Chargers, I think one of those teams probably can beat them. Like the way they match up against the Vikings. Morales talking about the Dolphins game. I like the way they match up there as well. They could lose to the Rams. I just don't see that happening. We're down to 8-9. I just don't see that happening. But we'll say the very bottom level is around that 8 and 9 wins, maybe we'll call it, range. But back to my actual prediction here, which was 12-5. There we go. That's what my prediction. Yeah, Ravens are just, it'd be surprising if they struggled. If they struggled, it'd have to be because some sort of big time injury that I don't really view them as an injury prone team. I know Stanley was hurt last year, but yeah, so I'm not really. It's not like I'm expecting that or anything. I just think they're that good of a team. Lamar Jackson's just that dominant of a player. I think he takes a lot of crap sometimes too. I know he can throw the ball a little better. I do believe in him as a passer. But I think he takes a little too much from that because people don't realize how much he does for this team, how much of a dominant player he is. And that's, they're good because they're a good team, a well-coached team. They got players all over the place. But, Lamar and him being a problem week after week for game plans for defenses is a huge reason on why they're kind of just a lock to be a great. There's teams that are probably going to end up higher than them in terms of Super Bowl chances, odds, but the Ravens have probably better odds of being a better than good team. That's just my feeling on them. So we'll see how if the offensive line's any different, receivers are different, pass rush, losing Ngakoue, they're going to need some young guys to step up probably. They did draft Away, which I like, but I don't know if we can expect a whole lot from him right away, but, maybe some solid play. I think he'll be more productive than he was at Penn State with the most recent we saw him because he wasn't really that. I mean, he was disruptive, and that's kind of what you need here with the Ravens defense pass rush. You get a guy that's disruptive and that can drop back in coverage or has the athleticism to work with for you to have him drop back in coverage, which Away has. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see what they got, see if they can get over that hump. But that is going to do it for this one. Again, going through every single team. There's a playlist full of the teams we've already done, and the teams we do will be in there as well. Follow our Twitter. You guys will vote for who wins divisions and then eventually create a playoff field and on there. So check it all out. Links that you're looking for down in the description and comment section of every single video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.